Thank you. Chairman Crawford, Ranking Member Norton, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for this opportunity to share the views of the nation's small business truckers and independent drivers. My name is Lewie Pugh. I am the Executive Vice President of the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. We represent 150,000 men and women making their living behind the wheel. Prior to serving as Executive Vice President at OOIDA, I spent 23 years as a professional driver, owner of a small business trucking company with 2.5 million miles of safe driving. I did begin my trucking career in the United States Army as a truck driver. Throughout my career, I have firsthand experience of many of these pervasive problems that are affecting our supply chain today. As the subcommittee works to understand what's led to the supply chain challenges and how they can be fixed, I strongly encourage you to listen to the men and women who are out there on the road every day. The challenges and the difficulty that they experience directly contribute to this overarching supply chain problems we see today. Over 70% of America's freight's transported exclusively by truck. Additionally, 96% of trucking companies are small business with 6 trucks or fewer. To put it simply, small business trucking is the backbone of the American supply chain. Unfortunately, if you ask any trucker, they will tell you their needs and concerns have fallen to the lowest priority among workers in the supply chain. Lawmakers and regulators have long prioritized corporate carriers, law enforcement agencies, safety advocacy groups, along with shippers and receivers over the truckers when developing supply chain policies. This has led to an increasingly difficult environment for both professional drivers and small business trucking. Let's consider the facts. Truckers struggle to find a safe place to park, wasting nearly an hour of productive time each day searching for a place to rest. They are routinely denied access to restrooms at the facilities where they pick up and deliver. Detention time, which is the unproductive time they waste at shippers and receivers waiting to be unloaded, continues to increase, and many of these truckers are not paid for these hours due to this federal regulation exempting employee drivers from overtime pay. In fact, drivers' compensation has been stagnant for decades, failing to even keep up with inflation. There have never been more regulations imposed on our industry, and truckers are complying with these rules at an extremely high rate, yet crash rates continue to increase. And despite no requirement to do so, the administration is moving forward with an extremely unpopular speed limiter mandate that will slow the movement of freight, increase crash rates, and worsen driver recruitment and retention. EPA has launched a multifaceted attack on vehicles our members operate, dramatically will increase the cost and purchase and operation of trucks. Commercial driver's licenses are being issued in record numbers, but turnover rates remain large among large carriers of over 90%, some exceeding 100. Instead of taking the steps to reduce this, large carriers are trying and epically failing to bring teenagers in to the long-haul industry despite the obvious safety problems this creates. How can anyone be expected to operate efficiently under these conditions? I would actually like to see you or your colleagues try to get any work done if you didn't have a safe place to rest at night. If you showed up here for work at 9 a.m. in the morning, we're not allowed to do anything till early afternoon, all while not being allowed to use the restroom or being paid for that time you wasted. If you really listen to what truckers have been trying to tell you, it isn't hard to see why our supply chain is lacking. Thankfully, there are some members in the committee that have heard what truckers have been saying and have introduced legislation to make meaningful improvements. We encourage everyone to support H.R. 2367, the Truck Parking Safety Improvement Act. Co-sponsor H.R. 3039, which will prevent FMCSA from imposing the speed limiter mandate. Vote for H.J. Resolution 53, which will nullify EPA's NOx rules, which will dramatically increase costs and burdens of small regulations. Support legislations to ensure our members have restroom access, and co-sponsor legislation that will reduce unproductive detention time by removing the exemption from the Fair Labor's Extended Act. I thank you for this opportunity to testify, and I hope you understand I'm here to convey to you what millions of truckers have been saying for far too long.